Welcome to the Unriveted podcast, where we dial in on information technology, the intersections of digital transformation, artificial intelligence, and people. In this podcast, John, we're going to dial in on our second episode of digital transformation. A little fanfare we need, right?
Oh, yeah.
This episode is brought to you by the Verb Corporation, where words have actions.
All right. So what are we talking about today, Martin? You alluded to it briefly at the end of our last episode, but maybe our listeners would like to hear again, what is today's topic on Unriveted?
Okay, John, today we're going to talk about NINJA-ITi, but the last I is silent, and that is bringing back my martial arts expertise. We're going to talk about no, it's not just another IT initiative. NINJA-ITi.
NINJA-ITi, not just another information technology initiative. Okay, well, I'm familiar with your love of acronyms, Martin, so I'm not surprised that you came up with one here. But what do you tell us a little bit more? NINJA-ITi. What are we talking about? We're not just another IT initiatives. How does that play out in digital transformations?
John, I love acronyms, and a lot of business leaders think about digital transformation solely as something IT teams work on. But as you know, it's just not another information technology initiative. Or is it? Yep. That just rolled right off the tongue. I don't know. It's a bit of a pain of an acronym. I hate it. I love it. It had to do something here.
Well, it's the silent I at the end. I think it's the silent I at the end. But, I think a lot of people, when they make their acronyms, Martin, they make the acronym first, and then they fill in the blanks. You clearly don't stick with that that way of working. So I commend you for this one.
Wow. Okay, so maybe we should pull him and her out again. The human in the middle, or the human error reduction.
Yes, those are two of my favorites.
Okay, so John, what does it take to continue on with our success with digital transformation? Should we get into an exercise of worldwide change management?
Well, I mean, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head, right? Is that, a lot of organizations, when they hear digital transformation, the first thing that comes to mind is, well, I better call up my IT folks and have them start creating software or building out tools or automations. And, obviously there's a lot of that goes on in a digital transformation, but I think for companies to really, truly experience the benefits of a digital transformation, it's not that, like you said, it's not just another IT initiative. It's the entire organization. And that could be, the CEO, Alice. It could be mailroom Bob. Everyone has to come together to understand how a digital transformation impacts the organization. Because it's going to impact, everyone's job, right? What do you think?
Bob in the mailroom? Are we talking about Bob again? No.
You've met Bob.
I was thinking about, the copy guy in the copy room making copies, and that's that transformation. Maybe the person sitting at the fax machine watching for the incoming faxes. Is that part of digital transformation?
You know what? I would say so. I'm not sure how many people are making copies or making faxes anymore. So maybe that is part of the digital transformation: is no more copies and no more fax machines. So it's funny, though. I say that in jest, but I think that you really hit on something there. Is that like you said, are those part of it? Yes, those things should be part of it too. Like, how do we reduce our manual interventions in our organization so that we can make more stronger decisions based off of things like, what is the data telling us? So this is something that, everyone from the upper echelons of the organization all the way down to, the people that are in there in the day to day need to feel comfortable with. Do I have business leaders that are still making decisions based on their gut instinct? Or do I have them saying, oh, I can go and see this, Tableau dashboard or, some analytics system so that they can say, oh, rather than, basic on gut feeling, what does the data tell me? You have to train your employees and your business leaders to utilize those types of services. And you have to keep doing it, because if they do it once, they might say, oh, that was great. And then they might revert back to what they were doing before. So it's a much more difficult, it's a bigger challenge, I think, than some people realize, to do a digital transformation, because you have to get the entire, crew of the boat on board and acting together. And that's a much more challenging situation than writing, maybe some lines of code and automating a couple things here and there. At least I would think. I don't know. What do you think?
Wow. So you mean we might have the humans communicate with each other? We'll drop the cubicle walls down. We might actually get in and have a little discussion about processes and improvement, and how we could maybe reduce the amount of things that people do with paper or with current manual methods.
Yes, yeah. I mean, as much as people don't like talking to each other anymore, as the internet has clearly shown us, I think you're right. So I think, if anything, when we think about NINJA-ITi or ITI or whatever we're calling it, is that before you even write your first line of code, and before you even engage in a software vendor, if you want to go external or build, however you want to go about it, there's still the human element that's involved, right? People still need to talk and discuss how they're going to go about this process. And that could take, a year in itself. But, the companies that skip that and go straight to, throwing IT projects at those folks, eventually it's kind of like putting the cart before the horse, if you're familiar with that phrase.
Never actually heard that before, John. Is that dating yourself a little bit?
It might be. It's up there with, close but no cigar, which you could also use in this situation as well. You might achieve victories and easy wins at first, but after that, if you have nothing to back it up, it's kind of like what we talked about in our previous episode about starting with the data. If you aren't taking the time to make sure your data is orderly and neat and in a form that's easily digestible by whatever end source needs it, be it direct to people or, even a machine learning pipeline, you're going to have things fall apart, and then you're going to say, well, what happened? So yes, maybe I am dating myself with close but no cigar, but don't tell anybody.
Don't worry, John. Your secret is safe on the public internet with all of us. So as we share this story, no one will be surprised to know that you kept a good secret.
Right. Well, I do what I can, Martin, and I know that you're there to back me up in just such a situation. So I think we ended our last podcast with one of the rules of digital transformation. And the first rule last time was start with the data. So rule number 2 in this situation, I'll let you say it because it's your acronym.
No, it's not just another IT initiative.
So NINJA-ITi, so linking business KPIs and other monetary objectives to technical performance requirements of these new tools and systems is often difficult. So you have to think about the problem holistically, not just like a piece of software that we're going to throw out there and, it's going to make our lives that much easier. There's so much more to it, and it's not a process that should be taken lightly. So in our next episode, I think we're going to start talking about the importance of setting some of those standards, Martin, that we need before we even go down this journey of digital transformation, right? Setting standards, Martin.
John, we're not going to be talking about your dating profile online.
Very, very funny. Hopefully not.
Well, good. I look forward to taking this on. Join us for our next episode on Unriveted, and we hope you enjoyed the show. Thank you all.
Thanks.